Hi, I'm David and I work for Network Rail. Network who? Network Rail. If you've taken the train, you may have noticed the name of the train company that you were travelling with. It might have been Abellio ScotRail, Arriva Trains Rails, or it could have been Chiltern Railways or many, many others. But you may not have noticed Network Rail. So we manage the infrastructure for all train companies to run their trains. So what does it take to keep trains running? Surely there can't be that much to do. Well, there's certainly a lot of infrastructure. We've got 20,000 miles of track, 30,000 bridges, tunnels and viaducts, thousands of miles of overhead lines and thousands of signals, level crossings and stations, and much, much more. In the next 20 minutes or so, I want to give you the chance to meet some of my colleagues. They'll be talking about the innovation that's happening to change the railway and how we're using lots of technologies in lots and lots of different ways to make the railway that was built in the 19th century fit for the 21st century. And introducing you to 10 ways that innovation is changing the railway.
I'm Ellie and I manage innovation projects in Network Rail. My projects are some of the many things we're doing as we invest around £50 million a year on research and development, changing the railway for the future, using new technologies and making a difference. If you look back in history, the railway had many innovators. Stephenson, Brunel and Treadwell are just three of the pioneers who moved the railways forward in the 19th century through their innovative solutions and ideas. We must continue that and be pioneers for the new 21st century railway, delivering a reliable service for passengers and getting goods moved around the country, whilst keeping people safe around the railway and looking after our environment. Everyone working with the railway can be a pioneer, thinking innovatively, thinking about how we can solve the challenges we face on a daily basis using technology.
I'm a Network Rail pioneer.
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 And I'm a pioneer. Hi, I'm Yusuf and I manage a European funded project within research and development that focuses on improving the way maintenance is undertaken, both short term and long term, for example 40 years in the future. There are around 28 partners involved in the project, spread across Europe, and I coordinate the team. It's like having a blank canvas and thinking, what research can we do to revolutionise the railway? The focus is to have demonstrator outputs that can be trialled on our infrastructure to evidence that the research we've undertaken can actually work in practice. To ensure strong collaboration, I had the opportunity to travel around Europe in normal circumstances to meet the team and ensure we are working towards the same goal. It's great to be part of a massive team that will have a massive impact on the way and the future of railway transport.
Thanks, Yusuf. Changing the world is all about collaboration. I'm Patsy, and next we're going to talk about 10 innovations that are changing the future of the railway. So Moran, I'm going to the train station and I find that the escalator's shut. For me, it's just really annoying because I'm pretty unfit and now I've got to use the stairs. But if I've got children or if I'm carrying a lot of luggage, then that can be detrimental to my trip. Do we always have to wait until something breaks before we do something about it?
Well, lifts and escalators at most stations are now being monitored using an Internet of Things approach, using data from sensors to detect failing components before they cause an escalator or lift to break, and working with app developers, making live data available through an application programming interface or API to release through a range of media and channels.
Cool, so hopefully I'll get to the station and the escalator's working, but if it's not, I'll find out through an app?
Yeah, that's right. So sensors are at the heart of the remote condition monitoring system. Data from the sensors, along with other data, are fed into a predictive tool to understand how lift and escalator components are wearing out, so they can be fixed before they fail. This helps us to make repairs only when things are starting to break, and that saves time and money.
Wow, that sounds really good. So apps are being developed to help process information for a lot of these problems. Are the apps being developed within Network Rail?
Yes, some apps are developed in Network Rail, but this is about sharing data with other companies to create new services. I don't think many people would want an app that just told them when station lifts worked or not. It's just one thing that's good to know when getting around, and it can be linked up with how people can get help and avoid being left stranded.
That's fantastic, thanks Moran. But what about using new stuff, Lorena?
We need to install a lot of footbridges to get over the tracks to the right platform at stations. This can be expensive and difficult to build as they are unique for each place and they don't always look great. We've developed a new type of footbridge that's manufactured away from the railway and can easily be configured to suit the places needed.
We know that 80% of the UK railway network is made up of small to medium-sized stations. We also know that making our stations more accessible encourages the use of our network, and we know that the encouraged use of our network encourages socio-economic development in the local communities where we have more accessible railway stations.
The challenge that we have with this project is around station footbridges. So usually we use an access for all footbridge, and the timescales involved in building those bridges is so long that we knew we had to approach it differently. And the professional head for buildings and architecture had the idea to approach some more novel suppliers and to collaborate in a consortium to come up with a new design and a new process for constructing a footbridge that meant we could save a lot of time, a lot of money and a lot of carbon.
We've designed this bridge as a system. It's not a custom designed bridge for each site. What it is a system that you can configure to fit on any site. It means the components can vary in scale or in number. They can be tuned up and down depending on whether you need to go higher or lower over the railway. Spans can vary. We can go from 2-track to 4-track with an island platform to 6-track or whatever. So it's a reconfigurable design and has been from the very outset.
Meeting the targets that we've set in the project brief of significantly reducing costs, making it far more environmentally friendly and reducing construction installation time, we believe will allow station footbridges to be rolled out at a much quicker timescale than they currently are. So the Ava footbridge has the potential to drive increased accessibility across the whole of the UK's railway stations.
That looks great, but I haven't seen any of those anywhere.
That's because the first one is being built right now. You start to see them as stations.
That's really interesting. Thank you, Lorena. But what about working on the railway? Carrie, can you tell me a bit more about new technologies that's helping people in their day-to-day jobs?
Sure, no problem. The railway was built as part of the first industrial revolution. Technologies like steam power and mechanical machines were the innovation of time, not a computer in sight.
So, coming from a world where people write a lot of stuff down on paper, how are things moving forward from that?
We have developed a product called HMT1 Workflow Plus that combines hardware worn by workers and also to a digitization solution to capture data from inspections, automate form filling and support safety tools. It's also known as Connected Worker Solution. It's already being used in the oil and gas industries.
That's really cool. It's great that we can use technology from other industries and repurpose it for what we need on the railway. I've heard people use it in warehouses as well.
This is what some of our colleagues think about it.
HMT1 is a completely hands-free, voice-controlled user interface which allows workers to complete digitised forms without the need to carry cumbersome documentation or whilst also operating the tools and equipment needed for the job.
I think it'll have a massive impact on what we do on a daily basis, especially in the front line. The benefits is it's data capturing, quality of data, first time correct as well. It'll remove the multiple visits that we take to site to capture the information that allow us to plan and deliver track rules. The biggest benefit for me on this is whoever does the work, whoever captures the information, it's the same standard throughout, so the output is correct every single time.
The technology looks really intelligent, hands-free and voice-controlled, integrated with other apps, so when data is captured, they are tagged with the location and it can be used on smartphones and tablets. And we capture a lot of data from trains. They're called measurement trains. They're bright yellow and you can't miss them. But we've got to know what to do with all these data. Sneha, can you tell us how this data is helping us fix the railway?
Yes, we do collect a lot of data, far too much to be analysed by people, so we use artificial intelligence to do a lot of that analysis for us.
So what does artificial intelligence do, and how does it help us fix the railway?
It's like searching on the internet. There's loads of information out there, but when you type a few words into a search engine like Google on your computer, you get results that are usually relevant to what you want to know. By a computer applying a set of rules called algorithms, we use our engineering knowledge to create algorithms that recognize when something isn't right.
So computers tell us what to fix, right?
Not exactly. They give us a short list of problems, showing us what's happening in a way that we can understand on maps, with video and highlighting key data. We decide what to fix and what order to do it in. They support our decisions, not make them for us.
Okay, so what type of things do we analyse?
Everything we can. All the parts of the railway infrastructure need to work to keep the railway running safely. Track, overhead wires and drainage. One of the latest things that we're working on is to measure water levels in the drains next to the railway. This is really important to manage flooding from all the extra rainfall happening with climate change. Changes in the level can flag when there's a problem, such as a drain being blocked, and they can also give us clues when a problem may about to happen, especially if we add data that forecasts rainfall.
Trackwater explores an innovative sensor and data-driven approach to surface water management within rail, utilising technologies pioneered on the highways. By using Trackwater, including IoT sensors and data modelling, we can better manage and predict the maintenance of railway assets, improving service levels and providing significant cost savings. Real-time information helps to minimise the risk of flooding through more accurate, timely and trusted decision-making. By proactively managing drainage assets, maintenance costs, flood events and delay minutes will be reduced and safety improved for passengers and operatives. Trackwater, an Internet of Things approach to rail surface water management.
That's okay for things we can see, but what else do we need to do, James?
We need to deal with the hidden dangers within the railway as well. Underneath our tracks, we've got abandoned mines, unexplored caves, and all of these can collapse and damage buildings, railway infrastructure, and worse, do things like derail a train and put people's lives at risk.
But how do we access these spaces? And even if we could, would we want to? Is it safe?
No, we definitely don't want to go in there. They can have dangerous gases, cave-ins, or even explosions. So it's definitely not somewhere where you want to be putting a person. So Network Rail, working with robotics, artificial intelligence experts from small companies and universities across the UK, have developed a machine called Prometheus. Now this can go into those unexplored spaces through a 150mm borehole, and then once it's in, it can expand and explore them. And that means that we don't have to put people in there. It's much safer. It's called Prometheus after Ridley Scott's movie from 2012. Check this out.
The inspection of mine environments adjacent to the railway is an essential undertaking. However, current methods are time-consuming, costly, and pose health and safety risks to workers, such as falls, structural collapse, hazardous gases, fire, and explosions. Prometheus aims to eliminate these risks and provide an efficient solution for capturing high-quality mapping data in harsh environments around the world, such as underground mines. The Prometheus project is delivered by a consortium of UK industry and academic experts, tasked with delivering a drone that will undertake autonomous exploration and inspection beyond the visual line of sight. To achieve this, Prometheus will combine the latest research in artificial intelligence, drone and sensor technology. The drone will be reconfigurable, designed to be deployed through boreholes 150mm in diameter. This will enable operations in confined spaces. Prometheus has the ability to explore environments beyond the visual line of sight. Equipped with advanced sensors and artificial intelligence, the Prometheus drone can explore unknown environments, mapping its own path and navigating in real time to capture a detailed 3D map of its surroundings. The Prometheus drone will have far-reaching applications in many sectors that demand operations in dangerous and unknown environments. It will be transformative for subterranean infrastructure inspection, especially for mining, rail, construction, utilities and search and rescue, with other potential applications across offshore and nuclear industries.
Wow, that's a really cool invention. It really helps us see what's going on. But once we know something's broken, we've got to go out and fix it. And that means putting people on the railway. Right, VJ?
That's certainly true at the moment. A lot of repairs need trains to stop running and a team to fix it.
Okay, is that really so bad?
Well, there are always dangers working on the track, even with full training and safety procedures. We want to spend less time fixing the railway so train services can run more of the time. And we are working with universities, colleagues from other countries and technology experts to build a special train that can find the problems and fix them. There are lots of parts that need to come together to make this happen, lots of technologies and new ways to make the repairs, such as robotics and 3D printing.
That sounds really good, but doesn't that mean that we won't actually need people to fix the railway?
We'll still need people just doing different roles, say programming the vehicles to make the repairs rather than make the repairs themselves. Safer, cleaner, quicker.
Sounds great. Thanks, VJ.
No problem.
Technology is changing the way we are fixing the railway, and it's also helping us cope with the effects of climate change and how that's affecting the railway. Can you tell us more about what else is happening with regards to the environment and the railway?
We like trees by the railway, but they need to be looked after. Sometimes they get sick or get too big, and that can be bad news for trains.
So can't we just have less trees by the railway?
Yes, we could, but being responsible for the railway is about much more than keeping the trains moving. Network Rail is one of the biggest landowners in the UK, and it's important that we manage the land in a way that helps the environment. Trees are home to many species, and they are a really important part of helping biodiversity. They also absorb carbon, and their roots help to keep the ground stable and reduce flooding.
Wow, so it really is a challenge. The easy option might be to just get rid of all the trees, but we can't do that because of the additional benefits they bring, and that's why we need to innovate to solve some of the problems that are caused by trees.
Exactly. And to do that, we've developed a system called digitised line-side inspection that uses different types of images, taken from cameras on helicopters, drones and the front of trains, to get a 3D view of trees and clues on their health. This information is processed with artificial intelligence, so we know when trees are starting to become sick with diseases including ash dieback, and can deal with them before they become a danger.
Sarah, another issue caused by trees is the leaves which fall on the line every autumn.
Yes, every autumn the trees that grow along the railway drop thousands of tons of leaves onto the tracks, which break down into a slippery substance that sticks to the rails and causes trains to lose their grip. This can make trains overshoot signals and platforms, it can cause train wheels to spin and to damage the wheels and the track. It causes delays because trains can't always run to the timetable.
Okay, I know we already use high pressured water to blast off that sticky residue, but what else can we do?
Well, water doesn't always work, and using it can cause other problems, for example, near electrical equipment. We've tried using cryogenic technology on several parts of the railway. This freezes the leaf residue using dry ice, which stops it sticking to the rails.
That's pretty cool. So a bit like when you got chewing gum stuck on your jeans and your mum would shove them in the freezer to get it off.
Not sure my mum's ever done that, but yeah, that's the idea.
So we're doing a lot to protect the environment by the railway. But Heather, can you tell me how trains are green themselves?
At the moment, trains are mostly powered by diesel engines and electric motors. Trains of the future won't be powered by diesel anymore. Just like with cars and lorries, diesel engines are going to be a thing of the past.
Well, that's great. But why can't we just make all trains electric now?
The biggest challenge is getting electricity to the trains themselves. That usually happens via power lines that run above the trains, but only a third of the railway is actually equipped with these.
So could we just install more?
It can be complicated and expensive. One of the biggest issues is getting the power lines under bridges and over trains without knocking down the bridge and building it bigger, and without the electricity jumping from the wire or arcing, which is really dangerous.
So what else can we do?
One of the things we've done is discover ways to safely install the wire closer to the bridge. Using a special electric resistant paint we developed with a university and other special equipment that insulates the bridge, we can install power lines under some of the bridges. This is just one idea that helps trains give us a future where we can travel with net zero carbon.
That all sounds great, but I know that trains use a lot of energy. How can they be so green when they use so much electricity?
Trains are pretty green. We source a lot of our electricity from nuclear energy, which is a low carbon option, although there are of course different views on whether we should be relying on nuclear altogether. We are working to use energy from local renewable sources such as wind turbines and solar panels to power the trains. But wherever we source the energy from, we need to get it to the trains themselves. Although some passenger trains can operate on batteries, high-speed and freight trains need a large amount of power that can only be provided by overhead power lines.
Technology is giving us green travel by rail, but what about safety?
Well, train travel's the safest form of travel.
Safest for who exactly? It might be safe for those who are on the train, but I hear a lot of people are killed on the railway.
I guess you mean when you have to cross the railway or trespassers.
Yeah, I mean, obviously people shouldn't be trespassing, but there are places where you can just cross the railway. There's no lights or warning systems or anything.
True, it does mean you have to be extremely careful to make sure there are no trains coming. But there is a new system being developed called Meerkat that will provide a red and a green signal to show when it's safe to cross the railway or not.
It looks like pretty much everything's covered by innovation. So David, what's there left to do?
Well, Patsy, technology is moving so fast that there are opportunities everywhere. But getting ideas to work does take time and effort.
Okay, great. So is there anything I can do? Or is it just left up to the grown-ups?
Definitely not left to the grown-ups, Patsy. Your Generation Z, the digital natives. You know, we're innovating day to day in Network Rail, so as I said earlier, there are opportunities everywhere. But there are some special opportunities too. And there's a competition that takes place every year in Network Rail to make ideas happen. It's run by young people like you, for young people, Gen Z to Gen Z. Do you remember the project to wire up workers to save them having to carry paperwork and write things down? It was called HMT Workflow Plus. That was developed by a team of apprentices and graduates, like you, who won this competition in 2020.
Thanks, David. So, would you like to be a Network Rail pioneer? What should the railway be offering? Is it about aiming towards a net zero carbon impact whilst you travel? Or is it more about what you do whilst you're travelling? I was talking to someone recently, and they asked, why can't I order a Domino's pizza to have while I'm on the train? Why not? It's not on our list of things to do at the minute, but there's no reason why it can't be our future. From net zero carbon to carbs on the move, you could be part of creating the 21st century railway.